Alright, it's time to play a video game. Ready, set, go. Yeah. Okay. I grinded. Alright, I know. Yep, here, check this out. Ready? Take a look. Take a look. Take a look, take a look, take a look. Look at this. This is Kyoko. She is completely unchanged. It's level 26. It's great. This is Alice. Nothing's changed either. This is Kasume. Nothing's changed. This is medicine. Like, evolved medicine. So something has changed. Nothing else has changed. This is Chen. Actual Chen. Big Chen. I got some words about Chen I'd like to talk about. And then this is Siams, who learned cross poison, and I couldn't remember if she was a physical attacker or a special attacker, so I removed Pursuit, and then I looked at her stats, and I noticed she's a physical attacker, so oopsie daisy. Anyway, I don't remember who the first Pogie is that Watson leads with, so I'm just gonna walk back and see what happens. So, speaking of Chen, last time I did a sorter, I was informed that Chen has gotten tall. And I saw a comparison picture from CDS. And the picture had her pretty close to Ron's height, which was like, whoa. But then there are later panels that show her shorter than Orin and like basically the same height as Reimu. So I was lied to. Plain and simple. I was simply lied to. I don't remember what you lead with, dude. I'm just gonna start and see what happens. So yeah, I read all of CDS. The thing is, the art style is like growing on me, and then I got to the new chapters, and then the new art style showed up, and I was like, oh man, this is different. But then it quickly grew on me. It quickly grew on me. So I am all caught up on all 16 chapters. Notori, cool. It was Notori. I couldn't remember. She was tall for 5 panels, and then poof. Yep. What was I doing for this creature? I don't remember. I guess I just spam this. Oh, that's not gonna work anymore. Yeah, I like the camaraderie between Orin and Chen. That was nice to see. Orin is taller than Chen, which has been confirmed now. But yeah, the new art style, I really like it. It grew on me super fast. I like that Satori always looks tired, and I like that Eren always looks sick of everyone's shit. So now for the actual like big talk today. You know, this is obviously spoiler warnings for CDS if you're, you know. But there was a new character. Miyazuchi? No, it's Miyazaguchi. I remember her last name because it has Gucci in it. But her name is like, I think it's, what was it? Was it Mizumi? I think Mizumi, Mizuchi, Miyaguchi. It's gonna take a while to remember that name. It's that's pretty complex. To be honest with you, that's pretty complex. Tojiko. I don't remember what this thing is weak to. I have no answer for this mon. I don't fucking know. I need medicine alive for Iku. Let's go Yam. She looks cool. Her design is cool. I think she's neat. Her motivations are pretty intense. So I'm genuinely interested to see exactly what's got her pissed off. But she is a vengeful spirit. Oh my god, come on now. It's too early to draw conclusions. You gotta wait for it to all wrap up. I think her design is neat, and I'm wondering exactly how it's gonna, like, go. Right now, she's basically just, like, fucking 5-heading everyone somehow. I don't know how she keeps doing that. but it's a wild experience, to say the least. I did 17 exactly, which means... Oh, never mind. Crit works too. I like her design, yeah. Right now, all we really have is her design. There's very little left to go off of, aside from her motivation being revenge. She's also been looking at everything that's been happening in the world of Touhoumon, which is why we're getting a recap of all the different incidents. You know, we jump into the EOSD, we jump into the PCB, Alice is dead, you know, the usual stuff. I have come to really appreciate some characters. Well, I mean, I already like them, but I like some of the way... I never actually... The first time I read Chapter 6 was last night. I like Yomu, and I like Yuyuko. Because Yuyuko is exactly as I expect Yuyuko to be. But I like when Satori was explaining to Yomu what was going on, and Yomu was just nodding and smiling, and Satori was like, she just doesn't even care. Like, she fully understands that she does not understand, and she's just smiling and nodding. Yomu's just like, yep, sure am. That's good. That's good, I like that. Of course, we got Chen and Ron. Also, we got new lore chat for Kaguya. Remember, this is a spoiler for the new chapter that just got translated earlier today. But apparently, Kaguya has been sneaking out of Ayante all this time and visiting the human village without Eren knowing. And it's even gone as far as to say that Moko has been showing her around. So that was unexpected lore. I appreciated that. Those two have been doing that. I guess I just press Mega Drain now until it dies. I enjoy that. That was nice lore. Also, there was a panel with Kaguya where her arms were up and her neck was not visible, and she was like very squishy. I really liked that panel. I want that panel as an emote as a different character, but I don't know who to slot in there. Make it go boom. Now I press Poison Sting. Wow, medicine makes this go really good. It's nice that I'm actually evolved and not 4 levels below anymore. That's good. That works out. Eden's still a know-it-all, but I kind of like her... I like her attitude, and I like her facial expressions. She's about what I'd expect from Eden, to be honest with you, which is a good thing, because that's what I expected of Eden. She's a confident Lunarian to a point where she's obnoxious, but that's the character she is. Right, you have Thunderbolt. I switched into a water type. I did not consider the facts. Why didn't I just stay in medicine? Like, why would I not just stay in? Oh well. Okay. Seems like a nice person. Some of the facial expressions she made in that, some of the facial expressions that she made in that, in those chapters is a little scary. Also, she pat racing on the head. That was nice. Oh, you're a nature type, right. Okay, that explains why at least C didn't work. Also, Racing gushed over something called the punishment room for the lunar capital. That was strange. That was like a whole new awakening to the character. That probably made some people upset. Because they don't like when characters develop in a way that does not agree with their headcanon. Ha ha. Ha ha. Dynamo. With the Dynamo badge, you can blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. Thunderbolt. That's TM blah, blah, blah. Wake up, Alice. Wake up, Alice. When will Alice wake up? No, I just think it's funny how whenever Zun writes a character and he incorporates a single, like, panel, and he can just do whatever he wants because he's Zun. And he makes a panel that goes against someone's core beliefs to a character, and it's like, people get this, like, feeling of betrayal. It's kind of like how people seem to think that Mima was going to show up in CDS. And I'm 90% sure that that was just a meme. People don't actually believe that. But it was funny to joke about. But then, you know, the character has shown up and some people are probably legitimately upset, feeling like they were owed a Mima appearance, and Mima did not show up. You can probably learn Rock Smash. Surely you can learn Rock Smash. You can be sad. There's nothing wrong with being sad about it. It's the people that get angry, as if, like, they were entitled to Mima's appearance. That's insanity, dude. Zun was totally hinting at Mima showing up the entire time. I waited. Every day, I looked at my poster of Mima. I prayed, Mima is love, Mima is life. My dad doesn't understand, you know, the whole shebang. And then Mima didn't happen, and now they feel like they've been betrayed. Like they've been stabbed through the heart, and you're to blame. They give Mima a bad name. The usual shit. But to me, I don't care. You know me, I'm the biggest Mima fan in the world. That's me. I can't pick my Pokemon. There we go. You don't raise your pup. I don't care, dude. I don't care. It's a free double battle. Yeah, why not? Free real estate. But the order of events is tied to the events that they've been done in the game, which I do think is pretty cool. Eye and hat makes sense. Either way, yeah. So I read up on everything and I enjoyed. Cool. Waste of a fake out. So Gen 3, if you didn't know, Gen 3's has priority bracket is only +1. There's no higher priority than 1, aside from, like, you know, switching in Pursuit, I suppose. So a move like Fake Out has the same priority as Quick Attack, so it becomes a speed battle, which is why Fake Out just lost after fucking Gale. So priorities were, like, Extreme Speed has a priority of 2. As you know, it's the fastest and strongest priority move. But in Generation 3, its priority bracket is only 1. So it's just a matter of if you're faster than the other Pokemon's priority move. Cool, right? Isn't that cool? Technically, Pursuit has the highest priority in the game because it beats switching. Okay. Who are you? I know you're onto something. Let me explain. We travel around interviewing all of... Yeah, blah, blah. Okay, don't give up. Give up. Oh yeah, Helping Hand goes first. I guess it only counts for attack moves. Because yeah, Protect, Detect, those moves will always go first. But it's for attack moves. Because Fake Out has a priority of 5. You want to know something interesting, actually? Fake Out has a priority of 5, as does Protect. However, the move Quick Guard, which is designed to block priority moves exclusively, has a priority of 4, which means it does not block Fake Out. However, if you have Quick Guard on a Pokemon with Prankster, it gains +1 to its priority, so it blocks Fake Out. Ain't that some shit? Ain't that some shit? I learned this because of Meowstic, if you're wondering. Because Meowstic is a Pokemon with Prankster that learns Quick Guard. Also, Mat Block does not have any priority at all. So it's a move that is a turn 1 damage block for both of your entire team. It has no priority and only learned by, I think, Greninja. I don't know if that's changed. but it was just basically based on his speed stat, which could be 191 with beneficial nature at level 50. It's pretty fucking fast. I didn't look at who's coming in, so now I'm switching to this guy. I think I might read Lotus Eaters. I might not. The thing is, CDS hadn't shown off a new character yet, despite it being a new written work. So now that it has shown it off, I need to see, you know, I need to keep in the loop. But Lotus Eaters, I'm still just kind of waiting for any real development of a story. But I am caught up on CDS now, which is cool. There was a neat amount of lore in there that I learned. I like that the series is revisiting the older characters in a way that, you know, makes sense to the actual plot, because the what's her name? Fuck, I forgot her name. Well, shit. It started with a me. What was it, Miyazuchi? It's water gun. Mizuchi, yes. She's specifically following the events of the incidents that Reimu was a part of. So that's why it's going in the order it is. So it's kind of it's taking a cool trip down memory lane in a sense. It was nice seeing some characters again. I liked the Patchy. Patchy had some sass and a big smile on her face. Also, I like her layout in the library in CDS. How she's just in the middle of all those bookcases at her little crescent moon table. And she gives Satori a hard time. Also, we learned a bit about Satori as well. Obviously, we knew that she was pretty, like, just looking at her, you can tell she's pretty physically frail. But she doesn't do well in the, she doesn't do well topside for various reasons. Also, apparently reading humans' minds causes headaches. So, neat ability. Every little thing, you learn a little bit about each new, every character with each new, insert into canon. Wait a minute. The rocks are gone. Oh, fuck them. Yeah, bye, Mailing. The rocks aren't there anymore, and I don't know why. Were they ever there? I don't even remember breaking them. Huh. Alright. Come back, Chen. Neat. I'll take that. Also, I like when... I liked when Oren got dissed by Yukari, and Yukari also dissed Satori, and then Oren just, you know, walked away sad, gave her the one eyelid down and the tongue out, and then sobbed away. I felt kind of bad for her, but it's also nice to see. I like that. And then Satori gave her a skull as a present, and she was like, "Yo!" That's sick. What's interesting, though, is Oren mentioned, like, when she was talking to Satori, she mentioned, like, yeah, even we want some revenge on Reimu for what she did. But, like, the thing about the SA incident was that it was happening. Kaneko essentially caused it. And then Oren, you know, Oren did what she did to get the above ground attention. Sure, she got her ass kicked like 3 times throughout that game, but it was her own damn fault for getting in the way. Maybe she's just mad because Satori got whacked. Or maybe she's just mad at Kaneko, which by proxy she's mad at Reimu. I don't know, but either way, I don't know why Oren would say that she's angry. Like she would want revenge on Reimu for that incident when everything that kind of happened was set in motion by Kaneko, which then in turn was set in motion by Oren, because Oren released the spirits above ground to get the attention of the above grounders so they would come down and fix it. So, yeah, I don't know what that was about. She wants her salty rum bag. She got 3 fucking rounds, dude. Actually, I guess 4, huh? It's also weird calling Moko a yokai. Yeah, I don't know about that one. She's not, like, Mizuchi said all yokai are the same while talking to Moko. Moko's not a yokai. She is an immortal human but she's not a yokai. But, you know, I guess maybe because she's an immortal human, she's still kind of, like, weird. I don't fucking know. I don't know. We're not even really sure the extent of Mizuchi's ability either. The only thing we know about her is that she's incredibly elusive. She's pissed at Reimu. And, it's unknown how she possesses people, but when she does possess them, she can make use of their abilities. But I'm unsure how long she's allowed to possess people, because I feel like if you possess someone like Yukari, why the fuck would you leave that body, right? That's Yukari we're talking about. Lady cheat shit. Herself. Like, if you got in that body with her abilities, why would you just be like, well, guess I'll just grab Marissa. Like, huh? Okay. Sure. Alice, good. I'm eating a Pop Tart, by the way. That's good. Nice. It's a s'mores Pop-Tart. Kyoko. The thing is, you could argue that, like... Walrein, huh? You could try and argue that Mizuchi doesn't know that Moko is just an immortal human, but I don't think that's the case at all. Hyper voice. That's a strong-ass move. That's definitely not the case, because Mizuchi seems to know fucking everything. She even knew that Kaguya was sneaking out of Ayante, which means she's got her eyes on everything. There's no way she wouldn't know that Moko is an immortal human. Yet she called her a yokai anyway. So, you know, I guess I'm just a little unsure as to why. My leg. But nah, Mizuchi's design is cool. She's got a skull scrunchie. She's got two sets of handcuffs on her. One's broken on her left wrist, and then the other one's a huge ass one connected to her right wrist, and then her neck. And she's wearing prison stripes. She's cool. Yeah, we don't have official colors on her yet. I've seen some art. People just kind of put her in grayscale for the most part. Which, you know, she looked pretty good just in black and white. She's not going to have green hair, though. Like, I'm pretty sure her outfit is going to be black and white stripes, right? Like, I feel like the only thing we're really looking for right now is her eye color and her hair color. Kasume. Water gun again. It's fire type. I'm switching. There's no way she'd have green hair and blue eyes. No way. It'd be funny if that she was just actually the same color as you see her in the manga, though. Like, just straight up. Her hair is just like a dull silver. And her eyes are just white. Honestly, that sounds pretty sick to me. She is a vengeful spirit after all, so that aesthetic gray and white kind of matches her. I think she's cool. I hope she stays cool. Also, she's got sharp teeth. Now, I don't know if you know this or not. I may or may not have an extreme like of characters with teeth like that. Why? I don't fucking know. I don't know. I just do. They got big goofy smiles with their sharp teeth. Mommy G. Something about that big goofy smile they make with sharp teeth just sells it, you know? Could you imagine if Yuma didn't have sharp teeth and she made that big smile? She would look like a shitter. I mean, she does already look like a shitter, but with the sharp teeth, it's like there's, you know, there's more to it. I don't know how to explain myself. Whoosh. I gotta run all the way back. Hold on. Yeah. I'm good. Alright. I like Yuma's design. I think Yuma is plenty intimidating, but she also has this aesthetic to her that makes me think she's adorable. So, it's like conflicted, you know? Like, Saki's kind of scary. Yashie is scary. I would say Totetsu is definitely scary. But then she makes that big old smile and I'm just like, you're not scary. But she's definitely scary. Alright. Battle. Let's be real here. Pretty much every character in the series is scary to an extent. That's a scary character right there. Absolutely terrifying character. Uh-oh. Wriggle's scary in a different way, though. She's a bug. People aren't really scared of her. More so, they're disgusted by her. Shimmy? Shimmy scares me because she runs around with a fucking knitting needle as a weapon. That scares me for a different reason. It makes me cringe when I think of it. Remilia is scary. Remilia is definitely scary. You don't know what she's gonna do. Yukari's scary. Yuka's scary. Yomu's only scary if you know, you anger the wrong person. Otherwise, Yomu's probably pretty chill. Yugi? I'm saying. Is Kyoko scary? She's loud. I don't think she'll bite you. I'm not gonna put my hand on her, though. You can't just put your hands on people. If she bites you, it's your own damn fault. Yeah, she might pop my ears. That wouldn't be good. A Yamabiko isn't necessarily scary. But I think there's just something about yokai in general that, you know, people fear. Because they're yokai. I need to go through this tunnel. Oh yeah, Nazmin's not scary. Well, the thing is, the Myoden Temple group, I wouldn't say are scary because they actively try to, like, you know. Oh. Cat. They actively try to fit in the village. It's, you know, look at Akiu's rating system, I suppose. Schemers are scary. Yeah. Yam is scary. Nue is definitely scary. The yokai, ironically, Kogasa is not scary. The yokai that are usually, like, frequent the village aren't that scary. Because if they were, they wouldn't be able to frequent the village. Dayose is terrifying. Just a little bit. The thing is, any character in the series is capable of being scary if it's drawn in a certain light. Look at Inkfection, for example. Inkfection has 4 characters that it displays in that game, one of which is Kogasa, and it's pretty fucking scary. Look, let me paint you an example. So you have Wagasaki Hime, right? She's a mermaid. Mermaids are docile. We know that Wagasaki Hime is only really agitated because of the events of 14, but otherwise she's pretty chill. She's just hangs out in the Misty Lake, and she's, you know, she's a nice girl. And then you got Inkfection, where she is, you know, she can dive in your shadow and then pop out of nowhere and grab your ass. And it's like, oh yeah, now I'm fucking terrified, right? That's cool. You got Medicine, the abandoned doll, which is a scary concept when you think about it. Like, Bayonet's based off a similar, like, story. A doll that is abandoned. I'm pretty sure Bayonet is, like, Bayonet's probably loosely based off of, the Mary-san, urban legend, which, you know, is Koishi's urban legend. The one about the doll that was abandoned and then it slowly returned to its owner with a knife. So, Medicine was also a doll abandoned that was given life by poison, but she's not exactly scary, even though she would be scary. And then in Infection, she's really scary because it's a doll filled with poison that wants you dead. How could that not be scary? And then Flandre, I don't even need to tell you why that's scary, but it is. Flandre is quite scary. And then Kogasa was there, and Kogasa was just, you know, she was portrayed as the yokai she is, but she was portrayed in a style that made her scary. Hence why she was scary. Inkfection had really, really good art direction. And I would very much love a full game that followed, like, that style and that, like, gameplay loop, because it was a very good game. It had a little bit of, you know, it had a little bit of issues, but, like, nothing that couldn't be worked out. There was nothing in it that couldn't have been, like, ironed out over time. But that was, it's one of my favorite, itch games I've played on the stream. It was really cool. It's exactly the kind of horror for that, like, that Touhou doesn't really have. Because Touhou is a series full of characters that are just, by, like, all rights would be scary, but not a lot is done specifically for that, right? But then you get a game like that which shows, yes, these are characters based off, like, based off yokai and gods and stuff, and the stories around them are quite scary, like Bakenekos. Chen is a Bakeneko, and Chen is Chen, right? But Bakenekos are definitely, you know, they're not all Chens. But then you get a game like that, and you put Chen in the game, but you make her like an actual, like, Bakeneko. It's like, oh shit, Chen is not scary, right? That kind of deal. So all the characters in the series have potential to be scary, but the lighthearted nature of Touhou as a series never really illustrates that, like, level of it. We'll go with Chen. There are some artists that, you know, take a more, what's the best way to say this? I guess mature tone. Like, if you know who Nawful is? Nawful Dreamer? His art style portrays a lot of different characters from the series in a more, I guess, grimdark kind of way. I wouldn't say visceral. I don't know if visceral is the word for it. But, like, his style shows things in a less, you know, happy, fun, silly kind of way, but more of a, like, oh, this is, I don't know if grungy is the word. I wouldn't say morbid. No, because it's not like he's gore posting. But, like, his style is like, oh, that's neat. Like, I could see those characters in those, like, that way. Like, one of my, my absolute favorite artwork that he's ever made is the one with Wagasaki Hime and the diver. I'm sure you've seen the one. That was actually the first one I ever saw of his. That like there was just something about it that I looked at and I was just like, this is really fucking good. Like just the nature of it. Like that one, I think that artwork kind of sums up what I'm trying to say here with his style kind of deal. Toxic gas. I really like that one. I really like that one. That's my favorite. It's my favorite one he's ever done, by far. Because there's a few little details to it. Overall, but yeah, it's just the style is more like something you'd see on a more like grimdark take on these characters. Because obviously we see characters like Medicine and Yuka here, but then a lot of art styles for them are cutesy or fun or happy, and that's great. I like that. It's nice that Toho is fun and colorful as it is, but I also have a desire to see some of these characters portrayed in a way that is more accurate to them as dangerous, scary creatures. And it's hard to do, of course. There's not a lot of like really scary outlets for this kind of thing. There's violent ones, you know. There's stuff like Koishi's Heart-Throbbing Adventure, which I don't know the dealio with that, but that's one that's like, you know, that's quote-unquote mature, so there's that. But there's not a lot of works that are really that grimdark with the series, despite its source material kind of letting you do that, if that makes sense. The thing is, I'm not necessarily a fan of... I'm not a fan of the violence, is the thing. I like these characters, and I'm not really a fan of, like, the overly violent nature of it. What I like, specifically with novels stuff, what I like is that it's not necessarily violent. There's obviously, like, his backgrounds are really good. And his backgrounds usually illustrate the point that it's going for anyway without anything, like, super explicit in the artwork, which I think is good. It's tasteful, you know? I think it's tasteful. That's what I like. I don't need to see a character with a knife running around shanking people because they can. But just something to illustrate the point that, like, oh yeah, these characters can be quite scary. And based on their origins, that kind of thing. And there's just not a lot out there like that. That's why I think Infection is as good as it is, because Infection is another situation where the gameplay is good, the environment of the game is very, like, interesting. It's very neat. The yokai in it are scary, but, like, the way it uses ink as a motif makes it, you know, it keeps it tasteful, but also still, like, manages to show the more, the darker side of things, you know? That's why I think Infection is so damn good. It's tasteful, you know? But I guess taste is subjective, of course. But I think the kind of work like that where, I guess, give it an age rating of 15 plus or something. I don't know the best way to, like, say it, but you get what I mean? Like, it's obviously delving into aspects of the series that aren't touched in canon very often to it all, but it's not just, you know, it's not just throwing caution to the wind and setting up a big ol' splatfest. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good way to say it. Your imagination can go wild due to a lack of specific detail. But, like, you know what the ink is supposed to signify to an extent, but it's still only just ink, right? It's good. Basically, yes, the game is very good, and I want to see more like it. There's a reason it was one of my favorites. As I said, there's just not a lot of things, there's not a lot of, like, games or art out there that really does that for the Toho characters, and there's nothing wrong with that. As I said, I'm definitely a fan of when things are just cutesy anyway, because I am. But it's cool to see that style every now and again, because you know that Toho characters are capable of pulling it off, because you know what the Toho characters are based off of. Rest. Did I just get Chesto Restoed? There's not a lot of Toho horror games, no. There really isn't. Kasume being edgy? I don't know about edgy, but Kasume, yeah, Kasume is based on a yokai that, like, falls on you and then, like, puts you in the bucket and eats you, right? Shit like that. And there's bones and shit in her bucket, and it's not even known if the little girl we see in the bucket is her actual body. That's pretty fucking scary. That's pretty scary when you think about it. But, you know, in Toho we see Kasume and, you know, she's just a little bucket girl. But then there's this extra bit of lore there that's never really touched upon. I don't know what that is. She's glowing. I see. There's that extra bit of lore in there that's never really touched on that you could definitely make something out of. But for one reason or another, it's just, you know, it's not really expanded upon. Might be Sky Attack, yeah. Well, whatever it is, it's gone now. If she rests again, I'm switching. If she rests again, I'm switching to medicine. Oh, never mind, we're good. The horror comes from Yokai origin. That's the thing, right? That's what I mean by Toho is a series that can do it. Because Toho is a series where all the motifs for characters come from urban legends and yokai and whatnot, which are in nature scary, because that's why they exist as yokai, right? Because yokai are an explanation to natural phenomena. That's why they are feared. That's why yokai are interesting. You ever see something like, I don't know about Yokai Watch. Pretty sure Yokai Watch is something silly. But something like Natsume's Book of Friends, for example, if you've ever seen that. I wouldn't necessarily call that one, like, edgy. It's not edgy. But it does show off a lot of yokai and different, like, you know, looks of them. And, by the way, that series is really good, if you didn't know. I like that series a lot. There's a lot of things in that one that show off different yokai. Some good. Some yokai are good and, like, helpful and nice to humans, and some yokai are just, like, evil, monstrous, and bastards. That kind of deal. Yokai are capable of being bastards. Also, same with gods. Gods are similar. That's why there's a curse god. Divine blessing and divine wrath, that kind of thing. I tried watching a bit of Kitaro, but I kind of got sick of it, like, really fast. I just got bored. Yokai survive on fear, gods on faith, but they can still, you know, they can still invoke fear. Like, Suiko has control over a curse god. Curse god's not a very good title, huh? Yeah, that's why Froggy is dangerous. It's okay to frog post, just don't insult frogs. You know, I wonder why Suiko likes frogs as much as she does. Curious about that. That's such a interesting character trait, you know? I don't know if there's any real origin to it, because as you know, like, the Moria Shrine as what the characters involved in that series. The characters involved in that shrine, it's based on the Shrine of Suwa, right? Which, that location actually got a huge boost in tourism as a result of Mountain of Faith, which is really cool to see. So all of that's The Moria Shrine's based on like a real place. That's cool. I like that. But I wonder if the reason she likes frogs has something to do with, you know, past traditions. I can't remember where I read this. I don't think it was in Strange Creators. But I seem to remember something about an old tradition where they would like impale frogs to posts as part of like a festival. But they don't do that anymore because it was considered extremely unethical. So, shocker, right? I cannot remember where I read this from, so unfortunately, I cannot give you source. Source, I made it up, but I didn't actually make it up. I swear I read it somewhere. Oh my god, come on, Chen. There were a few different, like, you know, festivals that happened, and that seemed to be one that was involved, and it's no longer a thing. But I feel like saying that has to do with why Suiko likes frogs seems kind of backwards, you know? I don't know anything about Neo. I've heard the name before, though. It's some kind of Souls game, right? Parse. Parse. If you eat a poisonous tree frog and snake eater, you can die. Well, yeah, it's a poisonous tree frog. Well, of course she would die. It's poisonous. The Souls-like but fast-paced like Ninja Gaiden. Oh. I'm still playing the original trilogy. I'm just waiting for the servers to go back up before I play DS2. I might check Neo out in the future. Mommy G. Soulish game with Diablo-like loot and stage-based progression. I've never played a Diablo game, unfortunately. Well, I say unfortunately, but that's just not the genre that I'm really a fan of. That's all. There's 2 Neo games, right? Yokai Extermination Simulator on the market. You mean I can play as Reimu? Is it available on Steam? Magic coat? Reflects moves like toxic back to the user. Is that actually the description of this move? This feels so specific that it feels like it was changed. I'm gonna get rid of pound for it just in case. I might grab it if it's on sale then, because it's probably a full price game. If Dark Souls 2 servers are not, maybe I could play that. I don't know. Thinking face. I am interested in Yokai. Although you gotta remember that Yokai aren't really, you know, you see Yokai in Touhou, you see Yokai in not Touhou, and there's a pretty significant difference. Reflects special effects back to the attacker is the vanilla description. So they did change it. Reflects moves like toxic. Yeah. That does make it a bit clearer what that means, huh? Okay. Keeping Yam up front until she evolves. Kotohime, what are you doing here? What? Oh, man. Never mind. Never mind. She cannot run from anything. Let me just give the EXP share to Yam instead. Here. Take this. There we go. Yes, Nazarin does not actually work for Sho. Nazarin was sent down by Bishamoten to keep an eye on Sho, because Sho is an avatar of Bishamoten. So, you know, they're portrayed in a master and servant type of deal. But Nazareth is not necessarily a subordinate of Sho. She kind of is, because Sho is an avatar of Bishamoten. But yeah, Nazareth was sent by the actual Bishamoten to keep an eye on Sho. So that's why their relationship isn't as, like, you know, it's not as master and servant as, like, say, Sakuya and Remilia. That's why Nazareth is known to give sass. Oh, speaking of. That's why Nazareth is known to give sass to Sho. She's just sassy in general, I suppose. That didn't do enough. Well, Headbutt won't kill if that was a crit. Yeah. I didn't do shit. So Nazareth is like, she's part of the Myoden crew to an extent, but she's not like in a similar boat to Murasa and Ichiden. Like, Ichiden, Murasa, and Sho all knew Byakuren before she was sealed, and they worked together to unseal her. But Nazareth came, well, I wouldn't say later necessarily, but Nazareth came after Sho was put into her, you know, her position, which was, you know, at that point, Nazareth would probably have known Byakuren before she was sealed, at least, so there's that. But I feel like Nazareth's relationship to Byakuren would not be as strong as the other three, because she wasn't, like, won over by Byakuren, so to speak. Try it again. Why was she sealed in the first place? Because she sympathized with Yokai, and humans didn't like that. So they sealed her away. It is a pretty believable backstory, mind you. Byakuren is a character that I didn't really like before, but as I learned more about her, I realized there's quite a bit of stuff to her character. So yeah, she was sealed away for her attitude towards Yokai, basically. Man, this is annoying. Stay in the fucking ball, Sho. They couldn't kill her. No, because she dabbled in magic. She grew fearful of her own mortality after her brother died, so she pursued magic. I believe that pursuit of magic is what led her to see Yokai in a different light, but I'm not quite sure on the details for that. But the general gist is that yes, she did end up sympathizing with Yokai, and humans didn't like that, so they sealed her away. And the Yokai in question, you know, not Sho. I actually don't know necessarily what happened with Sho, but Murasa and Ichiden were sealed underground as well. They were released by the geyser when, when Orin blasted. Nue, Ichiden, and Murasa came up with the geyser during the events of SA. I don't think Sho was, because Sho was a yokai, but because she was put in a position as the avatar of Bishamoten, she's also a god. But the humans didn't know that she was originally a yokai. And I'm pretty sure the story was Byakuren told Sho to keep her mouth shut, because if she was openly sided with Byakuren over, like, this event, she would just be punished as well. So Sho refrained from doing anything, and then Byakuren was sealed away. But she very much regretted that decision, which is why when the opportunity came later in UFO to unseal Byakuren, she jumped on that shit. That's also why Sho is even still alive, because tiger yokai are basically extinct. An avatar of Bishamoten, a god of warfare, as well as 7 gods of luck. Tiger yokai were born from the Japanese hearing about tigers, but have never actually ever seen a tiger, which resulted in, you know, tiger yokai, because that's how yokai are born. They're born from a fear of the unknown, or just unknown in general. That's also why, you know, the classic tale of a tiger being the only creature that can stand up to a dragon, they were a big deal. So that's why tiger yokai exist. But, you know, as time went on and they learned what tigers were, there was no longer necessarily, like, that crazy amount of fear towards them, so tiger yokai ceased to be. However, Sho is still alive because Sho, while still being a yokai, is also part god. So she exists through her role of being an avatar of Bishamoten while also still being a tiger yokai. Like, if you didn't know about Kyoko, for example, Kyoko is actually an endangered species of yokai, because even within Gensokyo, her kind is not believed to really exist. Because Yamabiko are called mountain echoes. They're the belief that when you shout in the mountains and you hear an echo, it's not an echo, it's somebody shouting back at you. But, you know, we know how echoes work, right? We know how echoes work. But even in Gensokyo, the Yamabiko are considered just that, just echoes. So the reason Kyoko came down to the temple was because, you know, she was in danger of going extinct. So she came down so people would know she existed. That kind of dealio. Oh, this looks terrible. Look at this shit. Put Chen up front. So basically, Yamabika are an endangered species. Kyoko came down from the mountains so people would know that she exists. I like Aku's explanation for Yamabikos, with how they're supposed to echo you. They're supposed to echo you, but if you shout certain phrases or questions, you'll get responses. And Aku is like, if you shout a math question, you won't get an echo back. So Aku shouted like, what is 1 + 1? And there was no response. And it's funny because in Notori Inc., there's actually a reference to that. There's a micro game. It was made by 216.io, I believe, is their handle. But the micro game is reflecting the echo, so you reflect the echo as Kyoko. And if Kyoko reflects an echo that just says 1 + 1 or 2 + 2, it flips and just becomes ellipses because they don't respond to questions like that. And that's, you know, it's funny. I think that's funny. It's also a neat reference. So Kyoko's doing her best, but, well, she's just doing her best, alright? She's doing her best. You know what's funny? Is despite Chen's personality, she's also, you know, she is a Shikigami. She has supercomputer abilities. When she was explaining how she wrapped up all the phantoms in Hakugokuro, I was like, oh shit, Chen is smart. And then she immediately started doing Chen things. And I was like, oh, I see. So Shikigamis are, you know, they have like supercomputer-esque traits to them for sure. That's what they're referred to as. Pardon me. But Chen still retains her personality. Because Chen is not like a full-fledged Shikigami yet, whereas Ron is. That's why Ron is a lot less nonsense, you know? Ron is no nonsense. There's no explanation as to why Ron has taken Chen in as a Shikigami. There's been no real explanation to that. It's just we just know that Chen is, at the very least, a Shikigami of Ron, and Ron is a Shikigami of Yukari. Chen still has traits from of Bakeneko, whereas Ron, I don't believe Ron has any traits of a Kitsune anymore. She is 100% the Shikigami. What move did I do here? I don't even fucking remember. Hyper Boy should work. Yep, that'll work. No, in CDS, Chen's got some intelligence to her. Shikigami gain stronger by following their master's orders. The thing is, though, is that Chen, you know, Chen's intelligence and her personality, I wouldn't say they don't match, because you can be smart and also be a dumbass at the same time. So Chen can still have fun and she's goofy and excitable, but she's still smart. Why is this guy even here? 10 out of 10. Yeah. It's Luis. Nice. Let's go fake out. Getting touched by water dispels her Shikigami possessions. Bakaneko in normal form also hates water, so she's weak against water. Yeah, that sounds about right. Because remember, Chen is not a full-fledged Shikigami. She still retains elements of the creature she possesses, which is the Bakaneko. Yumeko. No clue what type you could be. That's why she's still in training. Someday, Chen will have the Yakumo name. Someday she'll have the Yakumo name. I'm sure. Because she still follows Yukari's orders, because she's a subordinate of the subordinate. But she's Ran Shikigami, but she'll still follow Yukari's orders. For a second there, I thought I was fighting Ellen again. Huh. Oh, cool. Thanks for the 1,000,000 damage knockoff. Agility? Nah. She's still in training. Don't worry. Someday, Chen will be all grown up. It's a long time coming. But she will grow up. It'll happen. What the fuck? Alright, well, I'll just do it again then. No problemo. Give me that. Nice. Ron is a character who... she's very popular for obvious reasons. But in canon, she doesn't show up very much. It seems her personality is follow Yukari's orders. Now, in Bogetsu, she definitely showed some emotion. But I think CDS kind of captured how Zun, like, wants to portray her kind of deal. She's very no-nonsense, very serious. She follows her orders to a T. Now, I don't remember where I read this from. I believe it's in her official profile from Strange Creators, but Yukari seems to want Ron to express a little bit more free will, because Ron basically only acts on Yukari's orders, so Ron doesn't really do anything outside of that, and I guess Yukari would like her to just have some, Yukari would like her to go out and have some fun. Maybe not necessarily fun, but you get what I mean. That's the reason why Ron doesn't really show up in anything. Obviously, we see Ron in fan works a lot. And she's a doting parent over Chen. Stuff like that. But in canon, she doesn't show up very often. Why can you not run from Kotohime? She did find her own Shikigami, that is correct. That is correct. We just don't know really, we don't know the details on that very much, but we do know that it did happen, so there is that. It just seems like Ron will never do anything unless specifically asked by Yukari. Okay. It seems like her finding Chen and then taking Chen as a Shikigami was like one of her own acts. Although I don't think it's ever been specified whether or not she did that of her own volition or she did that because she was asked to find a Shikigami by Yukari. Again, there are a lot of things in Touhou that aren't explicitly like laid out, and you're left to use your interpretation. EOSD is big for that. Because EOSD came out and left a lot open, and then as time went on, Zun saw that people wanted to know more about the characters, so he started putting more into the character stories. That's why there's so many elements missing from EOSD. I mean, there are 2 characters in that game that don't even have official names. That should kind of give that away. But the response to that kind of shaped the way characters were shown off later. Like, you look at an example like Byakuren versus Patchouli, right? Patchouli is she's a natural-born witch. She's friends with Remy. She lives in Remy's basement. They came to Gensokyo because reasons, right? We barely have any information on any of those points aside from the fact that those are points, you know? But then you got a character like Byakuren who, oh, hold on, we know like almost her entire origin story prior to coming to Gensokyo, right? That kind of deal. Now obviously that's cherry picking. But my point is that EOST has characters that people really like, and they have a lot of elements to their stories that aren't explicitly mentioned, so a lot is up to interpretation, which means a lot of people to put their own interpretations on it, which means there's a lot of different ways you can portray a character that aren't necessarily false, but aren't necessarily true either. There are tons of different stories with Sakuya and her origins. My personal favorite is that she's a vampire hunter. She is a failed vampire hunter who lost to Remy, and then Remy took her in. I like that one. The idea of her being a vampire hunter. Of course, there are the ones that also put her as Jack the Ripper. That one's interesting. She was Jack the Ripper. Like, again, there's just different there's different stories that they're not necessarily, you know, they're not canon. They're obviously fanon. But there's nothing to necessarily discredit or credit them. And there's nothing really stopping you from believing one way or the other, because there's nothing really in the series that's saying this is incorrect. There's Akiu's interpretations, which she also thinks that Sakuya is a descendant of vampire hunters. I just think that one's the coolest possible outcome for her, because being a vampire hunter is sick as fuck. But, yeah. Same deal with, like, why Remilia and Flandre came to Gensokyo. How did Patchy and Remilia meet, and why are they friends? That kind of deal, right? There's, like, Mailing. We don't know anything about Mailing. Why is Mailing a gatekeeper at the Scarlet Devil Mansion? What kind of yokai is she? There's so many different things about these characters that are just not known. So you're free to think what you want. Just the further down the line you go, the more characters are fleshed out. So there's more official lore to them, which is good in my opinion. I like official lore. Is the Yokai Grassroots Club real outside of Gensokyo Wander? Yes, actually. The Yokai Grassroots Network is a real thing in the universe of Gensokyo. It's basically all of, like, the small-time yokai, which is why Rokurokubi, a mermaid, and a werewolf, like, these are all yokai. Okay, I didn't know you could do that. These are all yokai that exist, but they're lesser yokai, right? Because we're used to the yokai in Touhou showing up being, like, pretty big and powerful. Or just fairies, right? Or very small time. But these are yokai that exist throughout Gensokyo because it's a paradise for yokai. And they have a network where they keep connected so they can keep in touch with the goings-on of Gensokyo at any given time. Because information is very important when your raw strength is, like... Because, like, look at this. Remember, this is from a time when the spell card rules didn't exist, right? So... if you're living in Gensokyo and the spell card rules aren't in play, and you're like Sekibanki or Wagasaki Hime, you got people like Yukari in existence, right? How do you gain the upper hand on somebody with that much raw power? You need connections. So the smaller yokai form connections so they can keep up to date with what's going on throughout Gensokyo for their own, you know, for the safety benefits, you name it, because they can't just raw strength everything with a lot of the different characters we have running around. So the network does exist. It's a real thing. It's just we don't really see anything particularly for it, because after 14 those 3 characters don't show up anymore. That's all. But I believe the original intention of it was, as I just mentioned, but now that the spell card rules exist, it's not necessarily as needed or urgent, because there's not really any real danger to them as yokai anymore. But they still have it, and they still use it to exchange information. but they don't really need it as a, like, you know, life or death situation sort of thing. I don't really know how to best explain it. But basically, yes, the grassroots network is a real thing in canon. It's just not really ever explained or explored, aside from what you get from, like, the Omake text. Which is just that it's, you know, it's just a combination of smaller time yokai as a way to survive. Well, for fuck's sakes. Well, at least it's burned. There you go. She's a Dullahan. She's a mix of both. Bounce. Oh, not bad, actually. That's... it's physical, though. Nah, I'll get rid of it. Getting rid of that. The grassroots for a delivery service? They could be. Who knows? I don't think we know the extent of what they do. Sekibanki is a Rokurokubi, given the nature of her neck, I suppose. But she also has elements of a Dullahan. So she's kind of like a combination of a few different yokai motifs into one. Oh, Louise. Because we know that she can remove her head, but then some of her spell cards explicitly make use of her quote-unquote neck. So she has elements of both. Her theme is even called Dullahan Under the Willows. So it's kind of hard to say she's one or the other. It's better to just say she's both. That's all. Thank you for the raid, Christian. There we go. Either way, she's pretty cool. She can rip her head off and then throw it at people. It's made of pure energy. She's both, which is a yokai called a Nuke-kubi. So hold on. So a Nuke-kubi is basically a Rokurokubi with Dullahan traits. Well, the thing about a Dullahan is a Dullahan only has their one separate head, right? They have their one head, but Sekibanki seems to be able to create multiple. But I don't know, we've talked about this before. I don't know if her heads are pure energy or if she actually has multiple heads. Because she only uses them in spell cards, right? Oh, it's rat! Like, think of it like, a Nekekubi is a Rokurokubi that can also detach its head like a Dullahan can. Okay, but she has multiple heads is the thing. So, like, is it just energy? Because I'm thinking, like, in the case of Flandre has her 4 of a kind spell card, and I'm pretty sure her 4 of a kind is... Oh my god. Why is this thing so fucking fast? Her 4 of a kind spell card splits her into 4, and those are, like, the other 3 clones are just, you know... I think of it kind of like Tien. You know how in Dragon Ball, Tien has that ability where he can clone himself? He splits himself into 4, but the trade-off is that he splits his energy into 4. I feel like Flandre's ability is similar to that, because when Flandre splits into 4, each of her different clones only uses one type of attack. If all 4 clones had the same raw capacity of Flandre as, like, for her other spell cards, then that'd be insane. But I'm pretty sure 4 of a kind works similar to that. She splits her energy into 4 different equal parts, which is why they can only drum up enough, like, power to go for one real wave. Now, obviously, the real reason it's like that is because it needs to be balanced as a spell card. I understand that, but it's about looking way deeper than you need to on these kinds of deals. So I'm thinking the thing with Sekibanki's heads is Sekibanki can summon her head, and her heads chase you around and can shoot lasers, but they don't seem to have an impact on Sekibanki's abilities themselves. If anything, Sekibanki's attacks seem to get more difficult while she still has heads thrown at you. But Sekibanki isn't as strong as Flandre, obviously, so there's that. But I just wonder, like, are the heads real entities? Are they just elements of energy? How do they work? How exactly do her heads work? Lily White. About On and Piracy? What about them? An is a Komainu who was given life by Okina's incident. Her entire deal is watching over shrines to see them prosper, because that's what Komainos do. And she works for Reimu, but she also helps the Moria shrine. But she just seems to want shrines to do well no matter what. So she goes and helps the Moria shrine, and then she gives the secrets of their success to Reimu. So she's like a double agent. But An was born of the Komainu statue from the Hakude shrine. So even though she does help up the Moria shrine, I'm pretty sure her ulterior motives are for the sake of the Hakude shrine. Yeah, she's the stone lion you see in front of temples. She's the statue. That's why in Puppet Dance performance, you can get an on right away by talking to the statue next to, at the shrine. Because that's where she comes from. She literally was born due to the events of Touhou 16. So she was always there, per se, but she was given, like, you know, life so she can move around. Which is why when you see her in 16, she mentions how she knows the Hakude shrine, she knows who Reimu is, but Reimu has never seen her before in her life, right? That kind of thing. Statues often come in twos, that's correct. They come in pairs. However, all we know is that there is one on, but on does have a spell card that makes two ons. So that spell card is definitely a reference to the fact that they come in pairs. But it seems like only one of the statues was given life. Or they were both given life, but they formed into one being. I don't really know. What locations are visited by the protags in TH16? Stage 1 is the Garden of the Sun, Yuka's sunflower fields. Yuka is nowhere to be seen, though. Stage 2 is the Yokai Mountain and Yamamba territory, which is why you run into Nemuno. Stage 3 is the Hakude Shrine. That's why On's there. And Stage 4 is the Forest of Magic, where you run into Narumi. And then Stage 5 is in the Land of the Back Door, and then Stage 6 is even further into the Land of the Back Door. Because the different seasons are happening all throughout the world. So Larva shows up at Yuka's stage. Yuka's not there, though. Fall is hitting the Yokai Mountain. Spring had come to Reimu's shrine, and that's actually a reason why the incident was solved later than it should have been, because Reimu was directly benefiting from it. And Marissa got pissed about that. Marissa's house was being plagued by winter, and she went to Reimu and was like, Reimu, are you gonna deal with this shit? And Reimu was just chilling in this nice spring weather thinking, nah, it's okay. And then Marissa was like, listen, Reimu, shit's going wrong and you're benefiting. You can't just not do anything because you're benefiting. What the fuck? And Reimu was like, alright, fine, I'll go solve the incident. And then she went off to Touhou 16 happened. Ta-da! Spring came, yeah. Reimu put off solving the incident because it was directly benefiting her. That sounds like Reimu to me. So you want to say anything about it being near the Garden of the Sun, at least not in-game? No, but in Wildhorn Hermit, I think it was. I'm pretty sure it was Wildhorn Hermit. It mentions that it's summer in that location. Also, I'm pretty sure there are a few more elements in the game through the Omake text or outside of the game that tell you that it's the Garden of the Sun. It's just Yuka is not there for whatever reason. A sunflower field is the perfect place for summer to happen, though, right? I don't remember, like, what the other areas really were affected by, because obviously the areas stretched different ways. I think the human village was affected by the summer heat. Stage 3 is near a lake? No, it's the shrine. Reimu returns to the shrine. That's why it's all spring. That's why On's there. All the yokai you run into are yokai that were just in the general area to begin with. Whoa, Yam got some HP. I thought you were fast, Yam. Alright. Well, that's fine. Has Marissa and Alice not asthmatic like Patchy? And all magic have Mercury? It might have to do with age. From what I understand, obviously Marissa is still a human. Alice, I don't know how old Alice is, but from what I understand, yokai do not have to eat or sleep. Or like, I guess magicians. They don't have to eat or sleep. But Alice still does that because it's still like, it's still a habit of hers, I suppose. From when she was human kind of deal. So Alice is definitely, you know, she's a yokai magician. But Patchouli was born, like, Patchouli is a born witch. Whereas Marissa's still a human magician, and Alice is a human-turned yokai magician. So Patchy has been in the magic game for way longer. So she has definitely been exposed to more elements over time. And they mentioned before, I think it was arsenic, but they mentioned when they find all the gold from the vengeful spirits, they talk about how the gold that comes from vengeful spirits can also be things like mercury and arsenic and stuff like that. And Marissa mentions that arsenic is extremely dangerous. It's extremely dangerous, and even magicians aren't safe from it. Even with because even with their best spells to keep it out, a little bit of it gets in every time, and eventually it builds up, which leads to the weak constitution of magicians. So I think that's kind of an explanation as to why Patchouli is so, like, physically, her health and her physical health is very weak. She has, like, she's anemic, asthmatic, stuff like that, because she is still she's been a magician, well, a witch her whole life. So she's definitely dealt with many of those different, like, elements, because she also dabbles in alchemy, right? Well, I say dabbles, but she's definitely, there's tons of different things she has done, so she's been exposed to all kinds of different elements throughout her life. And we have no idea how old she actually is. There's no explanation to that. And then it just raises the question, why don't they just cast magic to fix their health? Which leads me to believe that there are some things that their magic can't do. But yeah, basically Patchy's frail, what's the word here? Demeanor? I don't think demeanor is the word. I'm drawing a blank here. Patchy's frail physical state is because of her elongated exposure to dangerous elements as a result of being a witch for so long. Constitution sounds like the right word. Yeah. So that's an explanation. Now, obviously, this is not like canon. None of what I just said is necessarily canon, except for the part where Marissa mentions the dangers of arsenic. That is canon. But it's the fact that Patchouli is affected by it to a point where she is as she is just speculation on my part, because it seems believable that that's what would cause that. But she's never really done anything to try and fix her health, either because it's not possible, she doesn't care enough, or who knows why. It's just unknown. This guy gives me dig, doesn't he? Yeah, thank you. Apparently Suika hates Setsubun now? What? Why? Huh? There's no way. What happened? Why would she hate it? Lotus Eaters? What? No, I know why Setsubun, like, I get it, but there's a chapter in Wildhorn Hermit where she shows up during a Setsubun festival. I don't understand. There seems to be a contradiction there. No, so the thing is, there's a whole chapter about how Kasen and Remilia do not like Setsubun because they don't like beans. They don't like beans. Kasen thinks they're gross and icky, and Remilia shares that belief. So they conspire. Well, I say conspire, but they work together and they change Setsubun from a bean throwing event, and instead they dedicate it to cooking bean related dishes. So all of Setsubun turns into just meals made with beans. And that's great for them, and they're happy with that. But then Suika shows up. Suika shows up at the shrine, and she's like, "Rawr, I'm an Oni, you better get your beans ready to throw at me." because she signed up to be the Oni because they throw beans at somebody dressed up as an Oni to chase them away. So she signed up for that. And then everybody looked at her and were like, sorry, Suika, we're not doing that this year. And then she got really sad. She got really sad that they weren't going to throw beans at her. So then Kasen threw a snowball at her and then, you know, made her happy again. But Kasen didn't show her that. So that chapter alone showed that Suika not only didn't mind Setsubun, but she had fun with it. To a point where when it was canceled, she was quite upset. And now you're telling me the latest chapter in Lotus Eaters has her dislike that event. What? What happened? It's a two-parter. We'll get a continuation next month, but for now, Suika's been really mad at Miwai for serving her beans. What? What the f- Hello? That confuses me. The part that confuses me is that we've seen, we've literally seen Suika's reaction to this event. And now it's like done a complete 180. Surely there's a reason. I need a reason for this. This is confusing. I don't get it. I don't get it. It's a strange inconsistency. Maybe there's an explanation for it. If there is no explanation for it, then fuck, dude, I don't know. Just being served the beans instead of the beans being thrown at her. But that wouldn't make sense because she didn't have any like apprehension to that, knowing that in Wildhorn Hermit. She heard they were cooking beans, she just got sad because they weren't throwing them anymore. She wasn't like pissed, and her mood immediately changed after, you know, the snowball fight began. I don't get it. Kasen had no issue with it. Kasen was the one. She also talks about how they genuinely hurt her. Setsubun as a whole seems to offend her. That doesn't make any sense. That would make sense if it wasn't for the fact that Wildhorn Hermit already showed the exact opposite. That's the part I'm confused about. Yeah, I guess Zun for Gore. You can have one or the other, but having both of them in canon is confusing because I don't really know what the correct answer is. Huh. Alright. I don't understand how beans necessarily hurt her. Kasen isn't hurt by beans, she just thinks they're disgusting. But she is okay with eating them. I have no idea what Yugi's opinion on it is. But yeah, Suika was more than happy to play the Oni at the event and have beans thrown at her. That was fun for her. We'll see next month. I guess so. I guess so. Does it specify that the bean weakness is a lie? No, I don't think it specifies that it's a lie, but you are right that there is speculation that Oni, you know, the humans know the Oni's weaknesses because the Oni told them. Because the Oni like fucking with humans, but they realize that if they just keep fucking with humans, humans aren't gonna wanna, like, you know, have any part of it. So they deliberately told the humans their weakness, which was beans, among other things. But it seems like, you know, it's probably, the Oni probably didn't actually tell them their real weakness, but they still act like the beans. They act like the beans are a weakness, and they just go along and have fun with it. Or they actually told them a weakness that isn't really a weakness. I don't know, it's hard to say. But yeah, it is speculation that the Oni just lied about it. But Oni also don't lie, so there's that. Oni are known to be very honest, so they might have straight up told him a real weakness. Because remember, Kasen does not like beans. I don't think she's physically hurt by them, but she thinks they're disgusting. But she doesn't seem to have a problem ingesting them. Whereas, as I just said, Suika is okay with getting beans pelted at her. I don't know. You'd have to see about how, like, because remember, Oni Oni are very honest by nature. It might be a real weakness, but they might have just gotten over it. Who knows? I don't know. Don't things you believe in Gensokyo become real so they become a weakness now? I don't. That's for urban legends. I don't think it's necessarily has to do with like physical traits of a yokai. It might though. Who knows? Yeah, maybe it was just one guy. The entirety of the Oni race got one guide by an Oni that didn't like beans. So then now they just throw beans at everyone. And they're like, what the fuck is this? Like, just pretend that you don't like it, and the humans will, you know, they'll tolerate your presence for more. Seems weird for Suika to lie about it actually hurting to her drinking buddies. It seems weird for Suika to lie about it without that. Because Suika's an honest sort. Suika's so honest, she'll tell you when she lies. That's the thing, right? And one of the endings, Immaterial Missing Powers, she straight up lies to Reimu, and then immediately is like, yeah, that was a lie. So even when she lies, she tells the truth about it. You know? That's the Oni's nature. I don't know. I don't know. No idea. Streamer doesn't know. Does creator know? An honest liar. Yeah. That's really what happens, though. I forget which ending it is. I think it's Reimu's ending. It's either Reimu or Suika's ending. But she lies to her. And in the next sentence, she's like, sorry, that was a lie. So even when she lied, she immediately revealed it was a lie. So I just don't think Oni are capable of lying that well. Because Oni virtues are courage, honesty, and strength. They like humans that exhibit these traits. And they also, you know, they also adhere to these traits themselves. Oni do not like liars. They do not like liars, cheaters, dishonest folk. They also don't like weaklings. And if you look at Yugi, I don't know about Kasen. Kasen's definitely an Oni though, but I feel like Yugi and Suika are very raw when it comes to like their core values as an Oni. But Kasen spent a lot of time moonlighting as a hermit. So her core values are probably still similar, but they're not as raw as Suika and Yugi. Because Suika and Yugi are definitely very picturesque of what an Oni is. But also Kasen's like more Oni half was the arm that she sealed away. So she's definitely a lot more mellow than the other two, but she's still an Oni. That kind of thing. Oh, this bastard. She's not, yeah, she's a great Oni. But the thing is, her more Oni-esque tendencies and traits were what was sealed away when her arm was cut off. So that's why that particular form of hers was violent. And then when she fused back with her other form, you know, she was closer to her I guess her armless half, but you know, her design was sick. But Kasen decided that it was better if she just cut her arm off again and foregone those traits. It's weird, I don't know. Yep. Due to kanji spelling, vampires can be read as the spelling for vampire is blood-sucking Oni. So that's why there are a few elements that cross over between Onis and vampires. For one, Remilia does not like Setsubun. So there's that. Remilia's strength is believed to be that of an Oni as well. Her raw physical strength is quite high, but she doesn't really, you know, she holds back. Flandre, too. Flandre definitely doesn't hold back as much as her sister does. I think that shows in her spell cards. Her attacks. So there are similarities to them. I wonder though how much their virtues collide though. Like as I said, an Oni's core values are strength, honesty, and courage. I don't know if Remilia acts or feels that same way. She's definitely strong. She's charismatic, not really courageous, I suppose. But she does like interesting humans because she gets bored easy. So she takes an interest in Reimu, and a similar reason why Suika does, because, well, Reimu's an interesting human. So they share some similarities. Also, for whatever reason, Suika doesn't, or Patchouli doesn't seem to like Onis very much, but she seems to be quite well informed. She seems to be pretty well informed on them. Probably another relation to the fact that a vampire's a type of Oni, I suppose. You gotta wonder where Patchy gained this knowledge. See? It's funny! She likes natto. Well, okay. The thing is, we were just talking about this a minute ago, but with Setsuban, Remilia and Kusen managed to convince Reimu to change the Setsuban festival from throwing beans to cooking beans, which Remilia doesn't like Setsuban because she doesn't like beans either, in the same way, or a similar way that Kusen doesn't like them. However, neither of them have any issue with eating beans, so that's why they changed the festival to that. And Remilia can enjoy the festival and eat the food. So Remilia has no issues with eating beans, much like Kusen doesn't. But both of them seem to just have an aversion to, like, beans in general. I guess just as, like, a raw ingredient. It's interesting that she likes natto, though, because natto is fucking gross. But it's a food. It's a cooked food, so... Well, cooked, but you get what I mean. It's a food item, so she probably just views it as that, and she's good to go. I don't remember necessarily what it was that Remilia is, like, stated this about not liking beans. Like, I think for Kusen, they make her skin crawl. She doesn't like them. She thinks they're kind of icky. Icky and gross. But she's okay with eating them. Eating them is, like, no problem for her. Yeah, I'll keep these two up front. Some people just don't like beans. Yeah, me. Beans are weird, dude. They're fucking weird. Have you ever had natto? Natto's disgusting. It's so gross. It smells gross. It looks gross. The texture is gross. Like, I don't know how anyone could put that in their mouth and be like, mmm. Like, ugh. Ugh. I'm not a bean enjoyer. Nope. I'm not either. Oh, no. Yeah, beans. Green beans? I don't know, man. I'm not really a bean guy. I can't help but think about natto whenever I think of beans nowadays, and it, like, ruins me. Ruins my taste, my appetite. It's so gross, dude. If you've ever actually eaten natto, I'm sure you understand what I mean when I say its texture is fucking weird. Yeah! Whoa, Yam, you're huge! Well, actually, Alice is just small. But, yeah. I guess just go for the poison. Okay. Well, beans as an ingredient is one thing, right? But I'm talking like raw beans. Cause like, I don't really like eggs, but eggs are key components in baking. So even though I don't like eggs, if you use eggs to bake and then you give me a product that had eggs in it, I'm not gonna be like, it's fucking eggs! And then I, like, you know, violently regurgitate, you know, that kind of deal. Because you can use ingredients and they can change their flavor and texture to be something entirely. Oh, pardon me. A Bohemian Archive Japanese Red article says about Vermilia says that picking up the roasted soybeans actually burns her hand. Damn. Suika's recent comment on them, I don't think the bean weakness is a lie at all. But then why did she want them thrown at her during Setsuban and Wildhorn Hermit? If they actually cause physical pain, why would she like volunteer for that? For fun? What the fuck is wrong with her? Oh, I'm so confused, dude. Maybe she was drunk? Huh? What do you mean maybe she was drunk? I think you mean maybe she was sober. What the hell? Racing 2! That's a full ass bunny. I am unsure if Suika is always drunk. She holds her alcohol pretty well. Oh. Suika is a character that is often portrayed as a goofy drunk no matter what. But a lot of her instances in canon are her completely sober. People tend to forget that she's actually a very smart and experienced and aged character. But she has funny animations. I like goofy Suika. Suika is a free spirit by choice. But that doesn't mean she is not wise. Think of like Yuko, for example. Yuko is very wise. However, she acts like the fool. And she has fun with that. Suika is of a similar vein. She's very intelligent. She knows a lot. She's very aware. But she actively chooses to live the side of the life she lives. And that's fine. And people enjoy drawing her as a wacky drunk. Because she's adorable when she's a wacky drunk. I mean, have you seen the fighting game animations? She runs around and fights like that. But if you actually like read the dialogue, she's definitely 100% like coherent. It's just one of those things that happens with certain characters. There's nothing wrong with it. But some characters are always, you know, they're always damned to a certain aspect of their character for like core fandom stuff. Example, Mei-Ling. Mei-Ling as a character. Mei-Ling is a character who is tall. She is an unknown yokai. She is very skilled at martial arts. She's a gatekeeper at EOSD. Like, she has a lot of elements to her that make her interesting. But a very common trope for the character is that she is lazy. And that's kind of the main trope you see from her in most fan works. That's all. Komachi is similar, yeah. Komachi is portrayed similarly. But I think Komachi in Wildhorn Hermit shows that she is definitely not lazy. I mean, she's definitely slacked during POFE. She definitely has a tendency to shriek work for sure. But, you know, that seems to be her only character trait in fandom portrayal. The events of 10.5, her showing up in Wildhorn Hermit, there are elements that show her doing her job. Which, you know, and she's also really cool. But much like Mei-Ling, she is also in the camp of, oh, she was lazy, so she is always lazy. Thank you, Flamestone, for the resub. It just happens. I think Chirno is a pretty infamous example of this as well. Chirno is a character who is, you know, she is defined by her intelligence nowadays. Just switch to Chen. There we go. Ah, fuck. Another bunny. God damn it. Oh, please. Oh, Parsi. Flandre is an interesting one because Flandre didn't have much screen time at all, and she ended up getting a lot of different, like, personalities, so to speak, that people went with for her. And then she showed up in Cheating Detective, and then we got the Cheating Detective version. We got the Cheating Detective version of Flandre, which, in my opinion, was funny because after like 15 years of nothing from Flandre, we finally got something from Flandre, and it just didn't match up with like any of the popular tropes for the character that have existed since fucking 2003. I think that's funny. Personally, I think CDS Flandre is cool. I like the idea of her being a, you know, her imprisonment, so to speak, is 100% of her own volition because all of her needs are taken care of. She also is definitely a little, she's definitely as scary as you'd expect. But she's not, you know, she's not necessarily a child. People often portray her as, like, you know, a goofy child with violent tendencies. She certainly's got some violent tendencies, but she is, she's quite aware of her situation. If anything, it seems like she's more mature than her sister, but it's hard to say for sure because Remilia has appeared in a lot of different works, and some have been more comedic than others. But if you look at Remilia in CDS to Flan in CDS, I'd say their attitudes are pretty parallel. But we've never seen Flandre in other works, where we have seen Remilia in Bogetsu, Sengetsusei, all these different works. Remilia has had a chance to show up and do something. And oftentimes fan works, or official works, will show off characters in a more lighthearted fashion to show off more elements of the character as a whole. So CDS hasn't really been a story that has been used to show off a more comedic side. If anything, the story seems pretty serious because of the nature of Mizuchi. But we'll see. So it wouldn't make sense to portray Flandre in a goofy fashion, given the events that were happening in CDS. If anything, she was kind of a tone setter. She appeared in Bohemian Archive. Yes, she showed up in an interview. From Aya, and she mentioned how her ability, she can take like the core of objects and just crush them and then destroy the object. I don't know the extent of her ability, mind you. But she talks to Aya about that, and she just mentions that, yeah, she saved there was a meteor falling on the SDM, and she just destroyed it. And that was all Gucci. That's about all you get. That's about all you got from Flandre. Remy is a dumb, lying poser. Whoa, that's you got some propaganda you're spreading there. What happened? What did Remy do to you? What did Remy do to you? My sister says that she can manipulate fate, but she just says that things to sound cool. Now, to be fair, that is Remilia's ability, but it's not an ability she can control consciously. Whereas Flandre's ability is one she can control consciously. That's the difference in their abilities. Manipulation of fate is very strange, but Remilia doesn't necessarily have the ability to just do it at will. Whereas Flandre's ability of, like, absolute destruction is something she can just do. I didn't pay attention to who was coming out. Oh well. She does lie about being related to Vlad Tepes to make her sound cooler. Well, yeah, have you seen her spell card names? Remilia has the air of a character who puts on an act to appear more mature than she actually is. And you can kind of see that through different written works, because you can see the way she handles, like, she conducts herself, but she also has times where her, you know, her attitude, her attitude kind of boils over. Like, for example, I believe it's in Bogetsu, but when they're going to the moon, Remilia, Remilia does not like, she likes a lot of sugar in her tea, kind of deal. So, her taste buds, her palate is a little bit childish. So there are elements to Remilia's character that are, you know, there are contrasts to her general demeanor. So I think it's just, Remilia puts on a good act because she's supposed to be the boss of the mansion. She's the boss of the mansion, right? She's the boss of the SDM, so she's in a position, she's in a high authority position. And in a world like Gensokyo, she wants to, you know, maintain that level of, she wants to maintain that. You don't want to show weakness in a world like that. Now, there are obviously characters who just, you know, they're like, for example, Yuka and Suika, who are they're quite strong and intelligent, but they just act, they're free spirits, they act the way they do. Remilia is a character who is a little more, you know, she's not like as free-spirited as them. She puts on a good show. I do think she definitely has a little more mature than other characters, but she definitely has some childish elements to her that contrast that. As, you know what they call those? We call those endearing character traits. I wouldn't call her necessarily immature, but she definitely has some childish aspects to her personality that make her a fun character when she shows up. Like, she's incredibly impulsive. We learned that from Bogetsu, where she decides she wants to go to the moon. She's told by Yukari, hey, you should go to the moon. She's like, fuck you, I don't want to go to the moon. Hey, let's go to the moon. I want to go to the moon. Yeah, charisma break Remy. I like that trope. But yeah, basically what I'm saying is that Remilia is a character who, you know, she puts up a facade of being very mature. Because I think it's because she feels she needs to because of her position and her location. And hell, who knows, maybe it was caused by events that happened before she came to Gensokyo, where she needed to adapt that kind of personality. One where she couldn't show weakness. But now that she's in Gensokyo, that personality is still stuck with her. And she still, you know, she still shows maturity where she can. But things are definitely more lighthearted than they used to be, so every now and again her childish aspects slip out. The high table she had in the spaceship, I actually don't remember that. I just remember that she does not like bitter tea. And yeah, the written works do this, by the way. This happens in the written works a lot. There are a lot of chapters that take a moment to kind of like show off a different character's, like, you know, more goofy like traits that they can't show off in the game. Another example of this is like Sakuya. Sakuya's attitude in the games is pretty cold-blooded. But if you've seen Sakuya in the written works, like the chapter where she's looking for Tupai, she's kind of a sweetheart. Sakuya is a sweetheart. And she looks at Remy kind of in a way, like sometimes she looks at Remy in a way that like a parent looks at their sassy little child and thinks they're adorable. That kind of thing. Like there are sometimes you see Sakuya's expression like soften just when Remilia asks her to do something. Because she's just like, you know, she's just playing along with her. She obviously follows Remilia's orders and considers her boss, but I think there are a lot of times where Sakuya sees the things that Remilia does, and she just thinks it's adorable. She's a little goofy in the games. No, I know. But what I'm saying is that in the games, she's portrayed more serious. But in the written works, you know, they don't have to do that. In the written works, you could take the opportunity to explore other elements to a character. And then for Sakuya is shown off to be not as no nonsense as she comes off in the games. Reimu is also similar. You know, Reimu is a character who always saves the day. So, the written works, specifically in Wildhorn Hermit, the written works for Reimu are written in a way to show off elements of Reimu's character that can't really be shown off in the games, because the games require certain aspects to go the way they do for them to be, you know, to work as incidents. So since Reimu doesn't have to really go out and, Reimu doesn't have to go out and solve incidents. Well, she does, but not like grand scale incidents like the games and the written works. So some of the chapters we get are just, you know, chapters where Reimu tries to make money. Because Reimu's personality, aside from being an incident resolver, is never really explored in the games. Because you don't need to know anything about Reimu's personality, necessarily, in the games. So the written works take the opportunity to explore more elements of the character, which is where we see her character flaws. Because characters are allowed to have those, and despite what you may believe, you are allowed to like a character who has deliberate character flaws. Multifaceted characters. Correct. We know Reimu is very powerful to a point where she cheats. And that is all we knew of her for a long time. She was just a character who had cheat powers who would always save the day. Is that your idea of an interesting character? Not to me. To me, Reimu became a character I became interested in the more I saw her personality grow through written works and through like other like fighting games dialogue. Reimu is very strong, yes. However, she's extremely lazy. She's extremely lazy and opportunistic. There are a lot of vices to her character that make her well-rounded. Character flaws make characters more interesting, like Tenshi. I agree. I did not like Tenshi in 10.5 very much because I just thought she was a brat. I mean, she is a brat. But with 15.5 and then her appearance in Wildhorn Hermit, there were more elements to her character that kind of fleshed her out and showed her personality a bit more. And I was like, you know what? This is pretty good. I like this. Because in 10.5, it's like, I'm bored up in heaven, so I'm going to cause an earthquake down here, and I want people to come beat me up. It's like, what the fuck are you doing, Tenshi? But then in later works, it's like, yeah, so my dad was having this big important meeting, and he made a bunch of, like, food for the banquet, and I ate it, and it was terrible, and then Dad kicked me out of heaven, and now I'm down here stuck with you Earthlings. You Earthlings fucking suck, by the way. And then there's the chapter where she cooks the banquet for at Reimu's shrine, because she's like, oh yeah, celestial cooking, that'll be the good shit right there. And then she makes some of the nastiest shit you've ever seen, but Shion loves it. Oh, you're soundproof. Oh, huh. The Reimu cycle. Start to work hard. Things go well. She sees big success. What the fuck? This is so easy. I can take it easy now. Or what the fuck? I can capitalize this even more. The amount catastrophe. Correct. Correct. Remember when she put a divine blessing on that tree? I barely remember that chapter, but she put a divine blessing on a tree, and then she like I forget what she did with it. But then after it was done, she like tried to do it again, and Yukai was like, you shouldn't do that, Reimu. You're gonna make some angry gods. Why is Water Pulse super effective against me? She also put that arm on display for everyone to see. You remember when she blackmailed the Myoran Temple? Because she found out that Unzan, the Myoran Temple had a giant Buddha statue, and she found out that it was actually Unzan pretending, and so she blackmailed the Myoran Temple to be like, hey, let me put my stall right up next to the statue, and I won't tell everyone that that's actually Unzan. And they were like, fucking, yep, alright, cool, you got it. And I remember when Tori was pissed. She was like, why is Reimu allowed to go up there and like sell her stuff that close to the actual statue? We're not allowed to do that. Because they didn't want the humans knowing that a yokai was pretending to be the Buddha statue there. So yeah, that's Reimu. That's a Reimu kind of thing to do. Blackmail. What a shitter. Did my type change? Did I become a beast type? Oh, I did. She's Dream Beast. That would explain why Water Pulse is super effective. I gotta go heal again. Hold on, we're running back. Reimu also tried a fortune-telling business before. I remember that one. She's all about, I don't have any stone evos. I don't have any stones. Okay. Alright. The thing about Reimu is in Wildhorn Hermit specifically, her vices as a character are played up to, I'd say, a comedic extent. Oftentimes, she is berated or lectured by Kasen for her attitude. Like, there's even a chapter where Kasen takes Reimu to the mountains for a week for harsh training, and Reimu comes back and she's all about hard work, and Marissa is convinced that she's been traumatized. That was good. And I remember Kasen talking to Komachi about it. Komachi was like, yeah, I know she needs to train, but she's only human, dog. Like, vices are what makes human human. And Kasen was not hearing it. Like, after a week of training, Reimu was fine, and then Reimu went back to her old self anyway. Alright. Yuka's level of friendliness towards humans is simply explained as worst. Yes. Because Yuka is not a friendly lady, apparently. She likes to mess with people, from what I can tell. She's also insanely powerful. So, you know, you kind of don't want to get involved with a yokai like that. I would consider her scary. Just don't piss her off. But at the same time, like, you don't really know what she's capable of. Pretty much every character that runs into her in POFE is, after they quote-unquote beat her, they're like, oh, this chick is way too strong, I have to go now. So Yuka's entire presence is just terrifying. So I'm not surprised Aki would be like, yeah, don't go anywhere near her. Because, like, she's very obviously scary and strong. And it's unknown just how capable she really, well, capable. How unknown she'll, like, how far she'll take it when messing with someone. Also, the whole point of the Gensokyo Chronicle, what was that? Oh, could it be? The whole point of the Gensokyo Chronicle is to warn humans. Hold on. The whole point of the Gensokyo Chronicle is to inform humans about yokai, so there will obviously be bias towards the yokai in a way that makes humans want to avoid them. Because remember, the entire structure, of Gensokyo is dependent on humans being afraid of yokai. So the Gensokyo Chronicle does exactly that. Oh my god. It does exactly that. Yam and Medicine are very lethal because poison. Medicine hates humans, and she is, like, she literally is given life by some extremely potent poison. So, it makes sense. Tech Shark, cool. It makes sense why Aki would write in her book, do not approach this yokai, it is very dangerous. Because it is. It's plain and simple. Very dangerous. Yam is another one. From what we know about Yam, Yam is a yokai who has power over disease. However, she has, you know, she has the ability to control it. So she doesn't just, like, afflict everyone with disease, you know? But in the Gensokyo Chronicle, it warns humans to stay away from her because she does not like humans and she has the ability to inflict, like, various illnesses. So, when you read something like that in a book, odds are you're going to actively avoid the entry in question. That kind of thing. Also, as we know, Akio doesn't like fairies. Akio has some kind of vendetta against fairies. And also, there are a few elements in the Gensokyo Chronicle that are speculation on Akio's part. Because the thing about Akio's book is that it is an index on Toho characters to an extent. However, it is an index on characters from the perspective of a character in universe. So while it is canon, it is definitely canon, don't get me wrong. But because it is portrayed, it is canon portrayed within universe instead of through, like, Zun's own words, so to speak. It is, I mean, technically it's his own words, you get what I mean. But because it's from the perspective of an in-universe character, it means there is possible bias from said character within universe. Which, as you can see from her speculation on Moko and Sakuya, she speculates that Sakuya was part of a vampire hunter clan, and she speculates that Moko is a descendant of ninjas. Now obviously there's nothing to confirm nor deny that, but because this is written not by Zun but by Akio, it's like, it's hard to say for sure, right? That kind of thing. It's biased, yes. It is biased, and we understand why it's biased. It's biased because the whole point of the Chronicle is to warn humans of yokai. It is written with bias. And that is both a good thing and a bad thing, because it is cool that all that glossary is written in universe. But there is also, if you want to know about the characters from like an outside universe perspective, Strange Creators has a little subsection known as Who's Who in Gensokyo, which is basically the same thing as Perfect Memento for the characters, but it's written not from an in-universe perspective, but from an outside universe perspective. So there's a few elements to characters you can learn from that, which is really cool. Akio doesn't know that Kaguya and Eren are from the moon, for example, as everyone involved in the Iron incident decided to keep that a secret. Mailing. The humans don't know of their origins. But we also learn from Reisun that Reisun... Remember when Reisun starts selling those wooden bunnies? I believe it was during the rodent infestation. But Reisun was selling like her homemade household item to keep like something out of people's houses. And it was her own side project that she was selling on the side while also peddling medicines for Eren. And I forget who it was. I think it was Reimu. But somebody accused her of, being the cause of the issue by deliberately causing the issue and then selling them the ward, and then, then stopping the issue kind of deal. Something like that. And I remember Reisun saying something along the lines of like, we wouldn't dare do something like that because we are not human nor yokai. Like, the Ayante crew understands that they are outsiders, so they don't try to do anything to alienate them from either side. Because if they fuck with humans, uh-oh. But like, they also aren't yokai, so that's kind of why Eren is an open clinic to humans as well, and why they sell medicine to the human village. They try to exist in Gensokyo in the way that they do, and they don't want to bear ill will, because they understand that they are basically alone in their little corner of the world, and they don't want to alienate themselves from the rest of Gensokyo by doing something like trying to profit off the humans like that. Isn't Eren cold-blooded? Kind of, but not really. Eren is smart, is the thing. But Eren is cold-blooded towards moon rabbits, because moon rabbits are not respected by Lunarians. Eren understands her position, so she understands, like, even though Eren definitely thinks she's better than everyone because she's a fucking Lunarian, she also understands the importance of not being a total ass twat about it. So that's why while they exist in Gensokyo, she offers her medical expertise to those who need it. Yes, she's practical and logical, but we also know that Lunarians do not treat moon rabbits very well at all. Now, it seems like she treats Raisin pretty well. Well, I guess it depends on what written work you're reading. But moon rabbits are not, they're not of equal status to Lunarians. Eden has killed before. She has killed without remorse. But things are definitely a little bit different nowadays, considering she's just hanging out on the, hanging out down in Gensokyo. Alright. Does Yams actually hate humans, or is it actually the other way around? From what I remember, she's not really a fan of humans. But humans are also not a fan of her, so it's not a good relationship. You know, they both dislike each other. There was a time when Yam came up above ground and visited the Myodan Temple, and was turned away by Byakuren, because when Byakuren asked her why she was up there, Yam responded with, the humans up here, the humans who are worried are the tastiest, so I came to check them out. And Byakuren was like, no, you gotta leave. And then Byakuren turned her away. That's pretty much the only actual mention of Yam we have gotten since SA. So the character just kind of exists in limbo. I mean, 17.5 exists, don't get me wrong. I know 17.5 exists, Yam was there. She got her spider legs and everything. But aside from SA and that one instance where she is mentioned in passing to have done that, there's not a lot we know about her above ground. We have seen in CDS that the yokai below ground are kind of just allowed to go above ground. Oren's been doing it a lot. Satori does it now. So it's not a... Yam is definitely allowed to do it because she tried it, but Yam was turned away. So I think Yam just doesn't particularly care about going above ground. She likes her fun hole, I guess. The blowhole. 90, 100. That's pretty good, actually. I'll take that. Yugi doesn't go above ground either. Parsi doesn't go above ground. Satori can go above ground. So I think the fact that Satori went up there shows that anyone is allowed to at this point. But a lot of them choose not to because the way the world works is so vastly different. Also, the whole point of the underground is the underground yokai are kind of like, you know, they're not really well liked by above ground yokai for various reasons. Alright. Yugi was in the village in 13.5. That's true. Again, I'm not saying that she would never go up there, but like, she doesn't really... the reason Yugi even stayed behind when Hell relocated was because she liked the might makes right nature of the underground. It doesn't work the same above ground. Yugi likes the way the former Hell works, so she stays there. Suika stays top ground for whatever reason, but she still I'm sure she still visits Yugi. According to Satori in the Strange Creators cross review, Yugi is actually jealous of Suika's free lifestyle. Her very like free forget the word here. But as now we know in 17.5, Yugi also runs a hot springs underground, so she's more than just lazing around like Suika is, right? She's got responsibilities, stuff like that. Koishi went to the surface once to visit the Moria Shrine. Well, she's also been to the surface a few different times due to the events of the fighting games. And yes, she has been to she does go to the Moria Shrine because Byakuren saw her and believed that the Koishi's current state of mind was the closest thing she's ever seen to true enlightenment, so she wanted Koishi to visit the Myodan Temple. Remember, the only reason Koishi still even exists is because of that Mask of Hope. If it wasn't for the events of 13.5, Koishi might not even exist anymore. Isn't that crazy? She could have been a character who legitimately in canon disappeared. And I'm not just memeing about that, is the thing either. Like how Rumia doesn't show up anymore, Wriggle doesn't show up anymore. Like legitimately, Koishi would just cease to exist anymore in anyone's minds, so she would cease to exist in general. That's kind of a scary thought, huh? Koishi is a very pitiable character, to say the least. She's quite unfortunate. How do I get back to the Mount Chimney? I think it's this way. Alright. Chat, I just realized it's been 2 hours and 15 minutes. So, I would like to get to... Let me get to a stopping point, I suppose. I'm sure I could beat Maxi. The Mask of Hope is her life support. Basically, yes. Koishi was very close to just becoming, you know, completely invisible. Ceasing to exist. Which is a really sad thought if you think about it. Like, from what I can tell from her ability, people can't even really tell that she's there unless she... Like, Koishi seems to have the ability to decide who can and cannot see her. And as you notice in the fighting games, a lot of characters don't even realize she's there until she's in their face. And then sometimes characters even forget that they were just talking to her when she leaves. So her presence is that weak. Oh. I want this one. No, she wouldn't literally disappear. But what I'm saying is that nobody would ever be able to acknowledge her existence anymore. So she may as well not exist. She would wander the world without like ever being acknowledged. Which is kind of scary when you think about it. Transformed into Kyoko. Cool. Apparently, people, as I said, you can only perceive Koishi if she wishes for you to do so. But children have the ability to perceive her by accident. It's likened to that of like an imaginary friend. Sometimes kids can just see Koishi because I guess they aren't developed yet, so to speak. So they can just see her and then they talk to her, but then like the adults can't see her kind of thing. So it's possible that she would be able to exist in that form. But yeah, the Mask of Hope pretty much prevented her from becoming the little pebble on the side of the road. Hence her name. That's freaky? Yeah, it is. It's just, it is freaky. It's fascinating. It's very fascinating, but it is freaky. It's hard not to feel bad for her. She closed her eye because she couldn't take the anger directed at her for her ability. And by closing her her eye like that, she closed off her own mind. It's kind of sad when you think about it, because when we see Koishi, you know how she is. She's quite bubbly. Koishi's pretty bubbly. She seems like she's just enjoying herself. But then you think about the aspects of her life that caused her to even like close her eye in the first place, and it's pretty depressing. A terrifying girl with the ability to read the hearts of others. She's 5'7". Damn. That's pretty fucking tall. Of course, she was already like that, but the Mask of Hope restored her to how she was pre-eye stabbing. Not necessarily. Koishi's ability was the same as Satori's, but when she closed her eye, her ability became that of the unconscious, which is kind of strange when you think about it. But the Mask of Hope, finding the Mask of Hope gave her, it gave her hope. Because Koishi, by closing her mind, she doesn't really feel things anymore, essentially. Everything she does is, she doesn't think anymore. Everything she does is on a spontaneous whim. So by finding the Mask of Hope, she managed to retain some hope. some belief, something like that, which keeps her, you know, keeps her going, prevents her from just fading away into nothingness. That's why she's often associated with memes like that, because she genuinely does not think anymore. Her, everything, like, even her playstyle in the fighting games reflects that. You input a command, and Koishi will remember the special move, and then she'll do it when she gets close to them. That is how her character works in the fighting game. It's incredibly, I would dare say, unintuitive, but it matches the character really well. All right, so chat, I'm done for the day, or for Pogies. That's a lot of progress, honestly. Quite happy with that. So I guess next time I'll go to Mount Chimney and I'll lose, and then I'll stop the stream and then I'll grind. That's cool. Who for thumbnail? What the heck even happened today? What? Who did I fight besides Watson? Yeah, give me Yam and Satori, I guess. Shibi Satori. Oh yeah, Kyoko. Jun, of course. What Yam or Kyoko and Satori Shibi. That'll work. Nothing really happened this stream. That's all.